Hey everybody, this is Final Flame Productions back with another superhero related video. Today I want to talk about Spider-Man, Spider-Man's use in the MCU, and also their plans for Blade. Details about Blade has just come out very recently, and there's some questionable decisions being made. And I just wanted to connect the dots between what I believe MCU's mishandling of the Spider-Man character, and now it seems like the mishandling of Blade. Most people tend to get pretty defensive whenever anybody criticizes anything to do with the MCU. But I've been quite critical about a lot of stuff in the last few years. Didn't like the two Spider-Man movies they made. Haven't enjoyed some of the Avenger movies like Age of Ultron or Endgame, Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Thor 3, Ant-Man. A lot of these movies I either really hated them or just thought them to be completely forgettable and very poor. So in terms of Spider-Man, if you haven't seen my last video, I did a video, I think it was labeled Why Spider-Man Homecoming Sucks. I've seen Spider-Man Far From Home since that video. And just both movies, I just didn't understand what they were going for. Well, I guess I understood what they were going for. I just didn't understand why they would go that way. Clearly, a lot of people like it. Based on any conversations I hear about the MCU Spider-Man movies, they seem to be liked more than disliked. The people that would agree with me are very much in the minority. In general, criticism of the MCU just doesn't really happen. Someone like me who does like comic book movies, that does like characters like Spider-Man and Punisher and Batman, X-Men, for someone like me to really take against MCU movies, it's not that typical of a thing to happen. Generally, the Spider-Man movies, Far From Home and Homecoming, I just find them to be kind of childish. I describe them as the Nickelodeon Spider-Man with big budgets. I know a lot of people have called it, what is the term now? Is it Iron Kid or Iron Baby, something like that? You can tell me in the comment section if I've butchered that. But essentially, the Iron Man character has way too much influence in the Spider-Man character in the movie, but that's just because Tony Stark is a Robert Downey Jr. or popular characters in the MCU. But like them, Spider-Man is very popular in his own right, so there's no real need to give Tony Stark that big of a role. But yeah, I just find it kind of childish. I don't particularly like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I get the impression he could be a good Spider-Man with the right script, because he is quite a good actor. He's fairly likable. But he's kind of irritating in this movie. His attempts at humor aren't very good. His surrounding cast, there is no Mary Jane. Well, there is MJ, played by Zendaya, is it? Or Zendaya? I'm sorry for butchering her name. She's a good actor. Her role is quite minimal in the first movie, and I thought, okay, they're going a different route with MJ, Mary Jane. This could be okay. But in the second movie, her character was given zero to do again. I mean, Kirsten Dunst playing MJ in the Sam Raimi movies was a mixed bag. But at least she had a character. At least she was given a lot of screen time. There was character development. Whether her character being poorly written at times is fair enough criticism. But the character of MJ in the MCU Spider-Mans is extremely underwritten. I think it's the best way to describe it. The friend character Ned in the two Spider-Man movies again is a really poor attempt at comic relief. It's a character that doesn't need to be there. You look at James Franco as Harry Osborn in the Sam Raimi movies. Then you have Harry Osborn that was in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Again, characters that had their good moments, were poorly written at other times, but they were good characters, good actors. The character of Ned is, of course, not going to be. It's not really similar to the Harry Osborn character at all, but it's a very. I guess if you find that stuff funny, fair enough. But to me, it seems like a it takes away from the Spider-Man character and his kind of his lone man kind of struggle that we're so used to. The fact that he has a kind of comic relief friend that can always talk to it. It just doesn't. It kind of takes away from the character of Spider-Man, in my opinion. Then you got Flash Thompson, who's completely different as well. You know, going a different route with characters is a risk. I think with the character of Michelle MJ, it could have ended up being good. The fact that she's not just some very popular girl that Peter falls for. They could have took it in a different route, and it could have worked. But again, I just think the problem with her character is just she's underwritten. Flash being this kind of dweeby, irritating character, that's played for laughs most of the time. Again, Flash is not that big of a deal, but they're doing things differently, but not in any compelling way. I think John Watts, you know, he has no real track record of anything that you would, if you know, when he went to make these movies, there was nothing that said to yourself, "Whoa, this guy's going to do something good with it." And you see that in the movies. I don't. Maybe he'll go on to make good movies, but I really didn't like these movies at all. And I'm surprised by the strong and positive reaction they get by most people. I much prefer watching the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which have their flaws as well. And of course, Sam Raimi's movies, the first two were terrific. The third one, not so much. The Sam Raimi movies had heart, they had emotion, they had depth, they had characters that were taken seriously. There wasn't a lot of dopey kind of slapsticky kind of kid humor, especially in the first two Spider-Man movies. Anyway, of the Sam Raimi trilogy. You know, you look at a character like Aunt May in the original Sam Raimi movies, minimal screen time, but all her screen time was important. And the effect that Uncle Ben, when he died, he didn't have a lot of screen time, his character, but it still resonated and was really sad. Even in the third movie, when revelations about his death come up, it packs an emotional punch. There's nothing emotional to get invested in these new Spider-Man MCU movies. You know, the only character of the MCU Spider-Man movies that I thought had any intrigue or interest was Michael Keaton's Vulture. I thought he was terrific, especially because he's a great actor, and his character was kind of interesting and compelling, and somebody that I was generally interested in seeing on screen, and he has a good twist in that first movie. But he's the exception. The rest of it I just really didn't like. And in terms of Blade, Blade is a movie that the first two Blade movies with Wesley Snipes I thought were terrific. They're violent, they're adult, they're badass, they're cool. They still look pretty damn cool even to now. Maybe a few computer CGI moments are a little bit dated and don't quite stand up, but generally they're really cool movies with terrific action, terrific prosthetic work. Wesley Snipes, you know, who's had his trouble outside of acting, but by God, you can't deny he's a damn cool guy, and he suited the character of Blade so much. You look at what they're doing with the new Blade, and now this, I haven't read up on any follow-ups on it, whether or not it's true, but they have said that the upcoming Blade would not be R-rated, that the new Blade would most likely be a PG-13 or whatever it is in America. To me, that's a really bad decision. That's pretty much as bad as making The Punisher PG-13 not R-rated. I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know why they're doing this. Well, I guess I do know that they want to get more butts and seats, and they think they can kind of neuter down the character and change it. You know, of course, Spider-Man didn't need to be R-rated, but I think there is some of the similar trends here where they feel they can change and alter things and kind of MCUify it. I know they're not doing it with Deadpool, which makes it even weirder. That they're doing this with Blade, that they know they can do R-rated and get away with it, and it'll be accepted. I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, they're casting Mahershala Ali. I'm probably butchering his name. I've seen him in stuff before. Great actor. I don't think he's quite got the aura of Wesley Snipes, although I don't think there's any actor you could get. Off the top of my head, I really don't know who you would cast to match up with Wesley Snipes' badassery. It would take me quite a while to think of one. Ali is a good actor. I've seen him in Green Book. I've definitely seen him in more stuff, and he's always been good. There's no doubting that he will definitely give his all and be a good Blade. Whether he'll be given a movie that will give him a good Blade in the script, I don't know. I mean, there's these other stories. How true they are, I don't know. But this has been widely reported that they were only, I believe it's writers, that they're only considering black writers when they were employing people for writing this movie. I mean, it's not something that, I don't know why that news was put out there. It was kind of put out as if it was a sort of a compelling and worthwhile kind of cool thing to do. To me, it just screams of sort of why would be the question I would ask. If this is the direction they're going to take with it, if they're going to start alienating people off the bat like they did with Captain Marvel, when it sort of had tinges of sort of, the Brie Larson was irritating in the lead up to that movie.
Am I saying that I hate white dudes? No, I'm not.
Marketing was kind of lame. And it put off a lot of people. A lot of people were just kind of ignorant towards a female character in a movie. But in general, it's the Ghostbuster effect. It's the Batwoman effect, the TV show. People not having their minds on what they should be, is writing a good script, is getting this character right. The kind of political stuff always distracts and takes away from what could be a good movie. The R rating not being there is a big own goal, in my opinion. And it's just, it further backs up my point about the MCU, is that the MCU at definitely at one stage was terrific, giving us movies like the original Avengers, original Iron Man, the original Thor, Winter Soldier, Civil War, even Infinity War was a little bit, had moments I didn't like, but it was a terrific film in general. But I feel the MCU is slowly turning into a bit of a mess. I know it's still a massive brand, it's making a lot of money, but in my opinion they've went way off the boil in recent times. What I see them doing with Spider-Man, and I don't know what they're going to do with Spider-Man 3, not looking forward to it, and what I see them doing with Blade, I think that they've went way off the mark in a lot of things. The people that are making their decisions are questionable, and I just would fear for Blade. I would fear for what they would do to the Punisher as well, and the Punisher's back under their rights. People always say it, oh well, they need to get back to Marvel, they'll do it right. To me, they've ruined Spider-Man way more than the other franchises may have ruined it, and they had their fault. And Blade seems like it could be going this direction as well. Hopefully not. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm talking nonsense? Well, let me know in the comments. Thank you.